That's why they don't look that.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have the name.
It's also just not as cool.
Okay, we are out of executive session at 11:28. Are you filming? All right, let's go. Continue the regular session. I guess that we're into wind energy.
Yeah, we-
11 o'clock bonus.
Oh, yeah.
I can wait.
Let's do
You
it.
do your thing. That's fine. I can wait.
Okay, we're just trying to get through the agenda here as efficiently as
sorry.
possible.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, Senator Height had introduced a bill that would modify the wind setbacks and make them more reasonable, and Representative Reike introduced a comparable bill on the House side. Senator Dolan of the Cleveland Indian Dolans has agreed to step in with where Height was on the Senate bill, and he would like some letters of support from commissioners on the issue of local control, which seems to be one of the pushbacks in the legislature. You know, from our perspective, we passed the pilot, and that's, if we don't pass a pilot or the alternative energy zone, then the projects don't come. There's not been a single project built in the state of Ohio where an alternative energy zone and a pilot have been incorporated. So the question at the legislature is that enough local control? You know, my view is yes. There doesn't need to be any further local control than that, beyond all the due diligence that occurs with wildlife studies, liquor studies, setbacks from structures, road uses, wind studies, all watershed studies, all the other environmental impact studies are conducted by state agencies. So, he's asking, Senator Dolan is looking for some support that we feel as though we're being adequately represented in the process, and I do. So if you're so inclined, I'd like to send Senator Dolan a letter saying that we feel like we have enough control of the local process. So, I don't know if there's any thoughts or concerns about
I
that.
don't know, I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't know if we need a formal motion to send a letter.
Probably, yeah, we probably need a formal motion, but yeah, we've been to bat on this one. I don't know why we would step back at this point. I think we keep,
Yeah.
we stay in it. We've got a potential,
Okay, so I assume
investment
that's a
to-
motion, Shane, on your part.
It is.
Your second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Kirschner?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, wellness.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I did put at each of your desks up here, I did kind of give you, and I apologize, there's a lot of information in those packets. Just a brief background. Of course, we have the wellness program, and over the last year or so, we've discussed how to engage more employees. Our percentages of participation and eligibility is usually between 40 to 45% of the folks that are on our health insurance. We have a new, Staywell is no longer with us, so we have a new administrator through SEPCO, who's Interactive Health. And their plan this year, which are the legal size pages on the back, is their plan. And we're requiring 600 points. And that would get you the same benefits as our past plans, which is roughly a 25% premium differential of what the employee pays. So just to try to show you my spreadsheet and the way my mind works, the very top portion of that where it says current approved wellness plan 600 points. I broke it down into the different tiers that we have: the employee, employee child, employee spouse, and family. Tasha was kind enough to provide me the numbers of folks that are currently receiving. I think our numbers went up a little bit from last year with the spouses on. And what I show is we're going across there is the one column, number of eligible participants, so that's showing you as far as single down through family. And the last column is showing how much they are saving by getting 600 points. And that's costing the county $56,000 a year. Now, we do receive $200 back from SEPCO, which is just over about $22,000, give or take, a year to offset some of that $56,000. So then what we had talked about is part of the advisory committee, and I've met a little bit with Stacy and Tasha, and I sent things out to the rest of the committee at different times, was how do we incentivize people to stay engaged for a 12-month period? A lot of times what we see is if someone reaches there, in the past it was 450 points or 600 points, we may have folks that are, by February of a year, they become eligible and they kind of stop participating in wellness. What we would like to see is a habit form where people are engaged for 12 months. So year after year, they're doing something to improve their health. From preventative to activities to coaching to whatever that is. So the first, the proposed premium differentials, and I did a higher percentage and a lower percentage just for comparison, that I'm proposing, or the committee's proposing, that once they hit their 600 points, they stay where they're at. They're going to see that premium differential like in those top rows there. When they hit 800 points, then they get another bump of savings. And what you'll see there, the column saying it's a 7% is what I proposed on when I sent this out. And the next column is showing what that premium differential would be. And if you flip all the way over to that last column again, so basically, if I, who am on a single, get to 800 points, I'm going to have the $312, which I currently am saving, plus another $91. That would be my incentive to keep going throughout the year. If I reach 1,200 points, then I get even additional premium differential or savings.
So the 104 is additional, it's not 104 minus 91.
No, it's additional. Each one just keeps
Okay.
adding up.
All right, got it.
So if everybody got 1,200 points, the total cost would be 91,000?
Yes.
If everybody.
If everyone did it. Now, and those are the people, from our numbers, our past history of the number of people who normally are eligible, because we're, like I say, we're right between 40 and 45%. So if we have 250 people on the insurance, we get about, this year was 112. These numbers are based on about 103. So we're never, I didn't figure 250 people who are on the county insurance, because normally in our past history has been right around that 100 to 110
Okay.
people who actually participate and become eligible for the past premiums. Now, I'm guessing I inflated these numbers because not everyone's going to move up to 800, then off that 800, not everyone's going to go to 1,200. But I was trying to give a worst case scenario of what that would be.
Or best case.
Or best case, exactly. So that's kind of working through that. The next page is basically just a reduction of,
Mine's the same.
oh, then I copied it wrong, and I will have to, I sent those to you too.
Yeah, I sent it to him,
Same thing, basically.
yeah, he reduces the,
Yeah. No, that mine's the same too.
all right, I can go for it.
Okay.
You can talk
The
about it.
next one is basically, I went, instead of 7, I went to 3%, and then I think a 5%. So instead of an additional, like 15 total, it'd be additional 8. I think it cut that down to about 56,000, if my memory serves me. So it was really just what, how much the county wanted to invest, how much they wanted to look at that cost. In order to do that, right now, the current plan, you can only actually obtain 875 points. So what we're looking at is expanding of what the activities people can do. And most of those would be either preventative or the county activities, which are part of this back here. So, for example, I'm proposing that right now you're limited to 2 preventative exams counting towards your points. What I hear in a lot of cases is preventative is very important, because that's when we're going to catch things. That's when people can get treated early before they wait 5 or 10 years, and then all of a sudden their plan or their health issue becomes very costly. So I proposed any and all preventative, as long as it's, gender specific, would qualify. So if I want to go get 5 preventative exams, I would get points for 5, not just 2. And that's how people can climb to the 800 or 1,200. And then as far as the approved activities, kind of the same thing. Under the approved activities on the interactive health plan, you're limited to 3 over a 12-month period. And I'm just proposing we extend that. If someone's works out 5 times a week, every month, let's give them points for that. They're staying active, they're staying healthy. If they're a runner and they run 5Ks and they want to run 8 of them a year, let's reward that. Those people are staying active in order to train for a 5K. So it's those kind of things. And I actually did attach a sheet. Thank you, sorry about that. Oh, I saw. It is 3 and 5%, but it's 74,000. So there's about a $20-some thousand difference there. Thank you. So the third sheet I had put in there is kind of the proposed number of things that we'd allow people to do and how active they can stay to try and get to their points. I assume you guys want to take a look at this for a while before we move forward on it. I just wanted to put it out there and so you can put numbers to it. One thing is once, if this is approved, whichever level, then we will probably host lunch and learns to explain it to people. They'll get points for coming to a lunch and learn, which goes towards the plan. But then we can just lay it out for them and really encourage people to stay active for that 12-month period. From what I'm hearing from Sebco, it's really hard to see how your investment pays off on this, but they said they are seeing, after doing this for, I think this is their 4th year and it's our probably 5th year, that they're actually seeing benefit to offering these wellness programs. I can't put a dollar to it. I'm not sure they can put a dollar to it yet because you just don't know when something catastrophic is going to happen. But they do feel that it's a benefit to keep people active, get them to work, claims are down, those kind of things.
It's really hard to prove those kinds
It's
of
absolutely,
things, so
yeah.
And
in smaller counties, I mean, you have 1 or 2 major claims, and your wellness could be working very well, and those claims are going to affect you anyway.
Yeah.
I will say
Right.
we are normally in the top 4 or 5 counties as far as participation. They use us in Union County quite a bit because of how we try to keep people engaged and incentivize them. But it's usually us, Preble, Union, Geauga, and then there's one more I can't remember. They go above and beyond as far as incentives and engagement, and they're using those counties.
There is
So-
a chance, though, that this new incentive might be rich enough to draw more people into it.
That's our hope.
I mean, that would, right, yeah.
So I know, and as far as the fund goes and committing monies, I do know the fund grows a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm not involved with that
Yeah.
side of it. So I think that's something that you want to look at.
As premium goes up, the real dollars make a difference. If you're looking at 200 to 400, I don't know what the choking point is, but at some point.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But you're hoping to do a kickoff January?
Yeah, whatever works with your schedule. I mean, as soon as I hear,
Well, I don't think we need any more than a week on this, but we do need to review it, and I think we can make a decision for you next
Yeah.
week.
Good job.
Commissioners, I don't see.
Yeah.
anything.
I appreciate
I'm
it.
not here next week, but I can share my input with Space to share it and we could, yeah.
Anything off the top of your head?
No, I was, before knowing that the second part of this was with a little bit lower reduction in the extra percentage given, I was doing the math on it, and it's not, with the subcode 22,000 coming out of it, this is offering the extra incentives, another 35,000 plus. Take that, if you took the subcode off of that extra part, it's only an additional $14,000 roughly. And that's the full 56 hours, no 22 coming off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, 70,000 total, and impacts all employees that are carrying the plan. I don't know, it's a good program, but yeah, good way to.
Yeah, and the reason I went with a higher percentage, like the lower percentages, it's $39 a year. And I don't know if like a single plan, are you really going to hit 800 points for that?
Yeah.
Whereas if you can tell them it's close to 100 or, that's why I did the 2 different kind of benchmarks there with the percentages. Of course, the higher the dollar incentive, the more people are drawn towards it. So, but if you need any other information after looking at it, Stacy can give me a call or I can work up whatever you need.
Nice job.
All right,
Very
thank
good.
you.
We appreciate it.
Any thoughts in the back row there on this proposal? You guys?
No, I think the wellness committee is continually thinking outside the box, and they're good discussions, so.
Okay, we're going to new business at this point. So I think we need to talk about appropriations, et cetera.
See, I had a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund. This is putting 25,000 into land acquisition, which is part of the contract for the Olson property. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Delaware EPA Trust Fund, $2,422.46 into transfers out. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the dog and kennel fund. I think I need another step in here first.
General fund first, and then the dog and kennel fund.
Yeah, because when we close out a fund, we're closing that EPA fund out, we're closing out the fund, and it has to go back to the general fund, and then because it's the dog and kennel fund, we go from the general fund to the dog and kennel, so I have to see that one. But I have a resolution authorizing fund transfer be made to the dog and kennel. They're getting $2,422.46 from the EPA to the general fund, and the general fund to the dog and kennel fund. And here are the attached, if you need to see them, the EPA letter. I think at one point we tried to close this account down before, and they requested that we get an EPA showing it was closed because it was part of the composting we were doing. So, just trying to get it cleaned up. We don't use it, but because there's a minimal amount sitting there, it still gets a little bit of interest. So it's still moving, so we like to get it cleaned up. The composting is gone, so we don't need that fund. I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R fund, moving $22,329 from the building project to contract repairs. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. This is at the request of Common Police 2, moving $2,750 from various contract repairs, services, and travel to supplies. I have a supplemental decrease to the permanent appropriation for the soil and water fund. They are anticipating closeout year. They're reducing various lines for $30,616.94. I have a resolution entering into the Emergency Medical Services Agreement with Bloom Scipio Joint Ambulance District on behalf of Seneca County EMS. Danny and I actually went over to their meeting last week, and they didn't have any questions. It's the same contract they actually did as townships. We just updated it, so it's now they're a joint ambulance district.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Big step.
Yes. I have a resolution authorizing the amendment for the 4D service contract with the clerk of courts on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. I have a resolution authorizing the FY18 Airport Improvement Program pre-application to acquire land parcel E2, F, G, and U. There's maps in here to show what those are. Tree clearing, demolition for the former Tice property, authorizing Mike Kirschner, president of the board, to sign the FY18 pre-application and other related documentation on behalf of the board. I have a resolution authorizing the FY19 and FY 2019 to 2028 Airport Capital Improvement Plan, ACIP, authorizing Mike Kirschner, president of the board, to sign the plan and other related documentation on behalf of the county. I think this was discussed at a meeting you guys had with the airport, updating you on that plan. And let's see, I have a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2017 Ford Focus through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services Cooperative Purchasing Program from local vendors in lieu of bidding on behalf of Seneca County Youth Center. Let's see, that one. I got resolution establishing the Justice Reinvestment and Incentive Grant Fund for Common Pleas. I have the resolution establishing the Justice Reinvestment and Incentive Grant Fund 1405, and the other one is 1410 for Oriana House. Do you want to give
I'll give an
an
update.
update on those? Okay.
Be glad to. It's the 190.
190?
90, is it 90,000? We didn't. apply
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
the Oriana House, yep. 90,959.
Oriana House applied for, Oriana House, as you know, handles Crossway, runs Crossway CBC up both the man and the women facility. They also have Rigel Recovery Services out at 65 St. Francis Avenue. They also do our pre-sentence reports under a grant that we received from the state of Ohio for Judge Kelly and myself. Oriana House applied for a grant from the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Control. The amount is $90,000. That's going to be used for hiring people to do GEDs while they're in the facilities to help them with their educational component, and also to fund Vivitrol shots while in Crossway CBCF. Vivitrol is part of a medication-assisted treatment for those that have heroin issues and other opioids. But Vivitrol is a monthly injection that is given that covers up the receptors in the brain that craves heroin or opioids. We found it to be very effective. That's the only one we use in Seneca County, both Judge Rapp, Judge Kelbley, and myself. So this allows them, before they leave Crossway, to be on this medication, because once they leave the facility, then the cravings are there and they could start back up, and we've just spun our wheels. So this grant allows the money to buy the Vivitrol to give the injections at the appropriate time while they're in Crossway. Crossway, as you know, is usually a 4 to 6 month program, depending on the needs that are assessed at that time when they're brought in. Do you have any questions on that grant?
How long does the grant run? I mean, what are we talking?
I didn't apply, we didn't apply for that one, so we're gonna monitor it on behalf of the county.
Yeah.
In fact, I meet with Mary Jane at 1:15 today to go over all these requirements. We're gonna be issuing out the purchase orders and monitoring it, but I think it's for 18 months.
December 17 through June of 19.
Yeah. Really, 19 months, this one is 19 months. Now this one, the next one, we applied for, so I can give you a little more information on this. This was very key for our Pivot Drug Recovery Court. This is the first one in the state of Ohio that has both municipal court and common police court combined. And we went and asked for a grant also under the same program through the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. And we received a grant for $467,802. So we're excited about that. And this grant is for 18 months, starting on January 1st, 2018, going through June 30th, 2019. This is for our joint drug recovery court. This is just another collaborative thing that's happening in the community with Judge Rapp and Judge Kelbley and I having one drug recovery court. There are 3 now. I have my own, Judge Kelbley has his own, Judge Rapp has his own. This is combining our resources, combining our expertise and experience into one drug recovery court. We couldn't start it without the funding. We just received word Friday afternoon. We obtained the funding for $467,802. The judges intend, and we're working on the contracts now with the county prosecutor, to contract with Oriana House to hire specialized caseworkers, specialized probation officers to work with people that are admitted into the drug recovery program. It's exciting stuff, and it should help the community greatly. This is the 3rd grant the courts have received this year. We received a grant earlier in the year for $47,686 for mental health assessments. We found a lot of people that have drug issues and mental health issues. So to gear the plan in the right direction for recovery, we need to know the mental health of the person. So we do these assessments early on in the case. As soon as we get the case at a bond hearing, I find out, should we get a mental health assessment? We have a grant for that. In addition, we have the TCAP grant that we received for $270,088 that allows us to, in this case, hire a drug-intensive probation officer to work with those people that are users rather than send them to prison. They're addicts, nonviolent, felony 5, which is the lowest felony, to work with them in the community. Part of that money goes to the sheriff, the rest go to the courts. So the 3 grants so far this year that the courts have been able to obtain is over $785,000. So it's money coming to Seneca County to help us with various issues dealing with mostly the opioid crisis, but also other issues.
Yeah.
So we would ask you to approve that. That's also going to be talked about with Mary Jane at 1:15 today to talk about how we set that up. And we'll have a contract with Oriana House for both of those, TCAP as well as the Pivot Drug Recovery Corp. Now, this funding is the concern of the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation Corrections is we had changed the law to do this. And that's called House Bill 354. And it came out of committee last week, the Criminal Justice House Committee, 11-0 vote. It is up on the House vote at 3:30 today. I've been in conversations with Representative Reineke, who has been just wonderful working with us. He feels it will pass and pass very large. It will now go to Senate, but we hope that law will pass in January, and we would start the Pivot Drug Recovery Court in February. Of course, we'll all be in the same building by March, maybe sooner. So this all works out just wonderfully.
I think it's kind of a pilot program for the state too, isn't it? I mean, there'll be a lot of people watching.
There'll be a pilot project for the state. It has gotten such positive feedback. There's another bill to make it available for every county in the state. House Bill 354 was just for Seneca County, but they also have another bill that they're working with that would make it for the other 87 counties because there's a lot of positive. And I'll be at Judges Conference starting, come please, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There'll be some discussion on it.
So those are those startup funds?
Yes.
I mean, is there going to be a separate entity coming forward, a separate budget? I'm just trying to understand what the go-forward plan is once the grant funding is.
It will be under the judges, but it will be a separate budget, just kind of like our joint services component now that we have, Judge Kelby and I, that we run indigent counsel fees, juror fees, drug kits, drug tests. We have that. We'll probably have another something like that. We'll work with the auditor's office to create that, so we can keep track of it. Yes, it's only for 18 months. We're going to have to prove we should have it continued, and there's where a lot of this with Oriana House, keeping track of demographics and statistics and so forth and so on. There also is other federal grants that once we get certified and specialized, we can now go for a BGA grant, and we think we go qualify for that down the road, so that this can
So
continue.
is that staffed with a magistrate, the specialized docket? Is that what it is? the specialized
It's a
docket?
specialized docket. The judges are going to be in charge,
Yeah.
and we're going to take rotating turns.
I see.
So for 4 months, let's say Judge Rep does it, and then 4 months Judge Kelby does it, and then 4 months Judge Schuff does it. And that way, we all work it. We all refer people to the program as we see fit, but we'll all be involved. But one person will be in charge for a period of 4 months. Our terms of court are based on January term, May term, and September term. 4-month terms by local rule. So, yeah, we're all going to be involved, and we'll take turns, so that way it's like a relay. No one gets too tired of this. We anticipate this will be at least 2 days a week, every week. Now, we don't know yet. We'll see how it goes, who's getting referred. A lot of it will be depending on the needs in the community, but we could see where it will be 2 days full-time that you'll be working on the drug recovery court, not on your regular docket. And that's why we have to divide it up, so that we can keep up with the other work. Any questions on the 467,802? Mr. Kirschner,
None, Your Honor.
18 months. We're excited.
Congratulations.
We needed funding, and we need the law change to do this. Besides, being in the same building makes a lot of sense. Being in the same building, now the funding, and the law passage looks very good.
And it's great to be a beta side, I think. I mean, we talked earlier today in another session that the ultimate goal is to save some of those young people and older people from
And we can do it by saving taxpayers money too, by combining, because it's the same people many times, it's the same issues, and it's the same drug. Isn't a different drug in municipal court versus common police court, it's the same drug, just the amounts. This is also, and I think you've probably read about it, the combining of the prosecutor's office too. It's just a great collaborative effort too, of the city prosecutor's office and the county prosecutor's office being combined. Again, that will help with the drug recovery court significantly. So these are all good things that are happening, which are really pilot things in the state of Ohio. These aren't done. I don't know of any other prosecutor's office combined or combined drug recovery court, so.
And a lot of it is done because we are physically located in the same facility or very near each other.
It does help, no question about it, that it helps, and the prosecutor's office right next door,
Right. Okay, perfect.
because they'll be involved in the drug recovery court. Thank you. Any questions?
Nope.
I have two more.
Okay.
I have the resolution establishing the Justice Center Operating Fund. The auditor's office sent down a request to the state for us, and we did get approval, so we're setting up the operating fund as 1244. We are, resolution establishing the Justice Center Improvement and Replacement Fund, and that will be Fund 125. And that is all the resolutions I have.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolutions and the appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, the time has come.
One more thing. real
What do we
quick,
got?
sorry.
One more thing.
I had a request from juvenile probate court. They have hired a employee that has come from Dark County, and it's a wellness question. Sedco does the $200 per employee for our county. Dark County was in the lower program, so they get $150. He met the requirements of Dark County, and Sedco was willing to give us the $150 for his wellness programs. We're not out anything, but the auditor wanted a letter from the board allowing that to happen, so.
So moved.
So be it.
If I could just
Yep.
add to that, please. Dark County does it a little differently, where we incentivize them through percentage off on the premium. Dark County gives the individual a check, and that's what we wanted the authorization to do that.
Good clarification.
Yeah.
Doesn't change, yeah, but yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah,
That's-
thank you.
Okay. Any other word from the gallery today? Hearing none, I think we need to go into executive session for a short time, one more time. Has to do with purchase of real estate. There will be no other discussion after this one.
Marathon meeting day.
You can make like a tree and leave, right?
I'll move that we go into executive session for the purpose of real estate
Real estate purchase,
purchase.
yes.
Second.
All right. We are in executive session.